Joe, we've spoken over the last couple of years.
Mate, don't come to me.
No, this one's right up your alley. So we've spoken about shortening the competition before, which having less games, less teams. State of Origin, though, is the pinnacle, though, in rugby league. They'll want to get that away at some stage, depending on how badly the season is affected. Could you condense the State of Origin period and shift it from its time of year to make it happen, to make sure it did happen? Could you see a way they could do that, whether it's earlier,
I think so.
whether it's later?
Even if worst case scenario they called the season off, could we play the Origin? Keep some players in training, and just play the Origin.
I think having the whole season off, if you're talking about finances and what you're going to sacrifice there, that's...
Well, you bring in 20, did you say 20 million?
Well, Scott Morrison went and was speaking to Alan Jones and said that rugby league isn't high on the agenda giving out money. So if you have the whole season off, the game's broke.
I don't think it'll be off. I think they'll suspend it. Without that, they can suspend it. And I think it may be the back end of that suspension rather than bringing the game back, saying 10 to 13 weeks. They can play the Origin 3 weeks in a row.
What happens if 80% of the players get coronavirus?
Yeah, well, then we are in big trouble.
Yeah. Well, that's worst case. I'm saying worst case scenario.
Well, then you're probably right.
Because they're saying 60% of the population in New South Wales are going to get it. That's what they're saying, worst case scenario.
How closely, Brad, do you think you could condense State of Origin matches within each other? I mean, it's already happened, I guess,
it's hard,
last year.
It takes a week to get over some games.
Well, if you had to condense it, 3 weeks. You know, one game each Sunday.
But there'd have to be no other.
Or one game each Wednesday.
Them Origin players could not go back and play any sort of.
Absolutely not. No, you'd have to stay well in. You know, especially if obviously the virus is still going to be around. You'd stay in camp and you'd be in your own little isolation. And that'd be the best way to get the result because you'd have a team motivated, you'd be together, and your best chance of building some camaraderie. So, 3 weeks.
What about if they got the season back up and going and you had to play it at the end? You had to play it after the grand final. I kind of feel weird to me.
No, mate. Once the grand final's done, you check out. You're looking at the end.
That's what you do.
No.
You run down the race.
Mate, they're not machines. They're human beings.
Yeah.
You see the end of the line and you win the grand final. That's like the World Club Challenge. It'll never work after the season because once you win, once you get up to the top of the mountain, mate, you need to freshen up. It'd be too hard.
Yeah.
And also, you got players who didn't play in the semi-finals. They wouldn't play for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
There were days, though, we used to go from a grand final, and you did the same. You travelled after grand finals, winning grand finals, and going to play for Australia, whether it was in England or, all the tours used to be at the end of the season.
Back then, it was every 4 years, so you'd...
But then we had trips afterwards. We went to the World Cup in England. We went to New Zealand one year. So there were regular trips after the grand final. There was sort of always a couple of weeks where everyone rested, and then you got back into the swing of it. So I think anything's possible, I'm just not sure, like having time off, and I just think, are we a bit blinded by thinking a lot of people aren't going to get this and what's going to happen? Because what you said before is, rugby league's, a great part of our life, but mate, everyone's losing here. Mate, there's like jobs, and you're seeing the stock market, and mate, small businesses they're just sacking people.
But the only